Grand rising, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Today is day 4 of Mindset Camp, and we are listening to the recording of The Subtle Art of Not Giving AF. So, yesterday, I apologize that my recording cut off on me. I didn't know that it cut off, and I was still talking. I had a whole little discussion about the book, the part that we read. So, today we're just going to pick up where we left off with our recording. And also, let me remind you, have you taken your supplements today? Take your supplements now. I'm about to take all 6 at once this morning. But if you are on protocol, take 3 right now and take 3 at lunch. Okay? So let's go ahead and get our recording started. And then after, we're going to have a short discussion about it. Okay? And then we're going to have like a short prayer so that we can, have ourselves together before we go out in the day and get started with our day.
Things that needed to be said and done but weren't.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me see what's going on with the recording. Okay. All right. That one has a copyright claim, so we're going to pull up another recording of it. Or I'll just play it from my phone. Let's see if I can find it on here. All right, let's see.
This is released for the sake of education.
Allows you to build are ever dwindling.
Oh no, we don't want that voice. Okay, let me go ahead and pull it up on here. All right, because I purchased the audio recording. Oh, I thought I had purchased it, but I purchased it now. Bam. Okay, so we want to pick up, let's find our spot where we want to pick up at. We were an hour and 14 minutes into all right, let's see. Right. Yeah, there we go. Let's go to the chapters. That would help. Okay. You are not special. I think we listened to that. Hold on, let me see. Let me do a little. Okay. Always choosing. I think we're right here. You are not special.
Chapter 3.
Let me make sure.
You are not special. The type of guy who yelled at his business partner.
Okay,
His physical feats, the funniest jokes. Says it, so it must be true. Each and every one of us can be extraordinary. We all deserve greatness. The fact that this statement is inherently contradictory. Chapter 4. The value of suffering. In the closing months of 1944, after almost considering themselves heroes, despite both being alone with nothing, doing nothing, Anoda had already by then given up most of his life to a phantom.
Hold on.
Chapter 4.
We were at the point listening to his story about him being in school. All right. Don't try. Happiness is a problem. Let's see. Kind of wish it wouldn't have messed up on me. It's got to be in this section that you are not special. Let me try that one again.
Absorbed, entitled little prick. The problem with my home life back then was not all of the horrible things that were said or done.
Okay.
Tapping with his foot. What is what? I say. If it makes money or Jenna Jameson fucks.
Okay. I found what we left off.
Angry and full of resentment. When I was 12, I hacked my house's security system with refrigerator. My family stonewalls the way Warren Buffett makes money or Jenna Jameson fucks. We're champions at it. The house could have been burning down around us, and it would have been met with, "Oh no, everything's fine. A tad warm in here, perhaps, but really, everything's fine." When my parents got divorced, there were no broken dishes, no slammed doors, no screaming arguments about who fucked whom. Once they had reassured my brother and me that it wasn't our fault, we had a Q&A session. Yes, you read that right. About the logistics of the new living arrangements. Not a tear was shed. Not a voice was raised. The closest peek my brother and I got into our parents' unraveling emotional lives was hearing, "Nobody cheated on anybody." Well, that's nice. It was a tad warm in the room, but really, everything was fine. My parents are good people. I don't blame them for any of this, not anymore at least. I love them very much. They have their own stories and their own journeys and their own problems, just as all parents do, and just as all of their parents do, and so on. And like all parents, my parents, with the best of intentions, imparted some of their problems to me, as I probably will to my kids. When real traumatic shit like this happens in our lives, we begin to unconsciously feel as though we have problems that we're incapable of ever solving. And this assumed inability to solve our problems causes us to feel miserable and helpless. But it also causes something else to happen. If we have problems that are unsolvable, our unconscious figures that we're either uniquely special or uniquely defective in some way, that we're somehow unlike everyone else, and that the rules must be different for us. Put simply, we become entitled. The pain from my adolescence led me down a road of entitlement that lasted through much of my early adulthood. Whereas Jimmy's entitlement played out in the business world, where he pretended to be a huge success, my entitlement played out in my relationships, particularly with women. My trauma had revolved around intimacy and acceptance, so I felt a constant need to overcompensate, to prove to myself that I was loved and accepted at all times. And as a result, I soon took to chasing women the same way a cocaine addict takes to a snowman made out of cocaine. I made sweet love to it, and then promptly suffocated myself in it. I became a player, an immature, selfish, albeit sometimes charming player. And I strung up a long series of superficial and unhealthy relationships for the better part of a decade. It wasn't so much the sex I craved, although the sex was fun. Validation. I was wanted. I was loved. For the first time since I could remember, I was worthy. The craving for validation quickly fed into a mental habit of self-aggrandizing and overindulgence. I felt entitled to say or do whatever I wanted, to break people's trust, to ignore people's feelings, and then justify it later with shitty, half-assed apologies. While this period certainly had its moments of fun and excitement, and I met some wonderful women, my life was more or less a wreck the whole time. I was often unemployed, living on friends' couches or with my mom, drinking way more than I should have been, alienating a number of friends. And when I did meet a woman I really liked, my self-absorption quickly torpedoed everything. The deeper the pain, the more helpless we feel against our problems. The more entitlement we adopt to compensate for those problems. This entitlement plays out in one of two ways. One, I'm awesome and the rest of you all suck, so I deserve special treatment. Two, I suck and the rest of you are all awesome, so I deserve special treatment. Opposite mindset on the outside, but the same selfish, creamy core in the middle. In fact, you will often see self-entitled people flip back and forth between the two. Either they're on top of the world or the world is on top of them, depending on the day of the week, or how well they're doing in their particular addiction in that moment. Most people correctly identify a person like Jimmy as a raging narcissistic asshat. That's because he's pretty blatant in his delusionally high self-regard. What most people don't correctly identify as entitlement are those people who perpetually feel as though they're inferior and unworthy of the world. Because construing everything in life so as to make yourself out to be constantly victimized requires just as much selfishness as the opposite. It takes just as much energy and delusional self-aggrandizement to maintain the belief that one has insurmountable problems as that one has no problems at all. The truth is that there's no such thing as a personal problem. If you've got a problem, chances are millions of other people have had it in the past, have it now, and are going to have it in the future. Likely people you know, too. That doesn't minimize the problem or mean that it shouldn't hurt. It doesn't mean you aren't legitimately a victim in some circumstances. It just means that you're not special. Often, it's this realization that you and your problems are actually not privileged in their severity or pain that is the first and most important step towards solving them. But for some reason, it appears that more and more people, particularly young people, are forgetting this. Numerous professors and educators have noted a lack of emotional resilience and an excess of selfish demands in today's young people. It's not uncommon now for books to be removed from a class's curriculum for no other reason than that they made someone feel bad. Speakers and professors are shouted down and banned from campuses for infractions as simple as suggesting that maybe some Halloween costumes really aren't that offensive. School counselors note that more students than ever are exhibiting severe signs of emotional distress over what are otherwise run-of-the-mill daily college experiences, such as an argument with a roommate or getting a low grade in a class. It's strange that in an age when we are more connected than ever, entitlements seem to be at an all-time high. Something about recent technology seems to allow our insecurities to run amok like never before. The more freedom we're given to express ourselves, the more we want to be free of having to deal with anyone who may disagree with us or upset us. The more exposed we are to opposing viewpoints, the more we seem to get upset that those other viewpoints exist. The easier and more problem-free our lives become, the more we seem to feel entitled for them to get even better. The benefits of the internet and social media are unquestionably fantastic. In many ways, this is the best time in history to be alive. Perhaps these technologies are having some unintended social side effects. Perhaps these same technologies that have liberated and educated so many are simultaneously enabling people's sense of entitlement more than ever before. The tyranny of exceptionalism. Most of us are pretty average at most things we do. Even if you're exceptional at one thing, chances are you're average or below average at most other things. That's just the nature of life. To become truly great at something, you have to dedicate shit tons of time and energy to do it. And because we all have limited time and energy, few of us ever become truly exceptional at more than one thing, if anything at all. We can then say that it's a statistical improbability that any single person will be an extraordinary performer in all areas of life, or even in many areas of their life. Brilliant business people are often fuck-ups in their personal lives. Extraordinary athletes are often shallow and as dumb as a lobotomized rock. Many celebrities are probably just as clueless about life as the people who gawk at them and follow their every move. We're all, for the most part, pretty average people. But it's the extremes that get all of the publicity. We kind of know this already, but we rarely think and or talk about it. And we certainly never discuss why this could be a problem. Having the internet, Google, Facebook, YouTube, and access to 500 plus channels of television is amazing, but our attention is limited. There's no way we can process the tidal waves of information flowing past us constantly. Therefore, the only zeros and ones that break through and catch our attention are the truly exceptional pieces of information, those in the 99.999th percentile. All day, every day, we are flooded with the truly extraordinary, the best of the best, the worst of the worst, the greatest physical feats, the funniest jokes, the most upsetting news, the scariest threats, non-stop. Our lives today are filled with information from the extremes of the bell curve of human experience. Because in the media business, that's what gets eyeballs, and eyeballs bring dollars. That's the bottom line. Yet the vast majority of life resides in the humdrum middle. The vast majority of life is unextraordinary, indeed quite average. This flood of extreme information has conditioned us to believe that exceptionalism is the new normal. And because we're all quite average most of the time, the deluge of exceptional information drives us to feel pretty damn insecure and desperate, because clearly we are somehow not good enough. So more and more we feel the need to compensate through entitlement and addiction. We cope the only way we know how, either through self-aggrandizing or through other aggrandizing. Some of us do this by cooking up get-rich-quick schemes. Others do it by taking off across the world to save starving babies in Africa. Others do it by excelling in school and winning every award. Others do it by shooting up a school. Others do it by trying to have sex with anything that talks and breathes. This ties into the growing culture of entitlement that I talked about earlier. Millennials often get blamed for this cultural shift, but that's likely because millennials are the most plugged in and visible generation. In fact, the tendency toward entitlement is apparent across all of society, and I believe it's linked to mass media-driven exceptionalism. The problem is that the pervasiveness of technology and mass marketing is screwing up a lot of people's expectations for themselves. The inundation of the exceptional makes people feel worse about themselves, makes them feel that they need to be more extreme, more radical, and more self-assured to get noticed or even matter. When I was a young man, my insecurities around intimacy were exacerbated by all the ridiculous narratives of masculinity circulating through pop culture. And those same narratives are still circulating. To be a cool guy, you have to party like a rock star. To be respected, you have to be admired by women. Sex is the most valuable thing a man can attain, and it's worth sacrificing anything, including your own dignity, to get it. This constant stream of unrealistic media dogpiles onto our existing feelings of insecurity by overexposing us to the unrealistic standards we fail to live up to. Not only do we feel subjected to unsolvable problems, but we feel like losers because a simple Google search shows us thousands of people without those same problems. Technology has solved old economic problems by giving us new psychological problems. The internet has not just open-sourced information, it has also open-sourced insecurity, self-doubt, and shame. But if I'm not going to be special or extraordinary, what's the point? It has become an accepted part of our culture today to believe that we are all destined to do something truly extraordinary. Celebrities say it. Business tycoons say it. Politicians say it. Even Oprah says it, so it must be true. Each and every one of us can be extraordinary. We all deserve greatness. The fact that this statement is inherently contradictory, after all, if everyone were extraordinary, then by definition no one would be extraordinary, is missed by most people. And instead of questioning what we actually deserve or don't deserve, we eat the message up and ask for more. Being average has become the new standard of failure. The worst thing you can be is in the middle of the pack, middle of the bell curve. When a culture's standard of success is to be extraordinary, it then becomes better to be at the extreme low end of the bell curve than to be in the middle, because at least there you're still special and deserve attention. Many people choose this strategy to prove to everyone that they are the most miserable or the most depressed or the most victimized. A lot of people are afraid to accept mediocrity because they believe that if they accept it, they'll never achieve anything, never improve, and that their life won't matter. This sort of thinking is dangerous. Once you accept the premise that a life is worthwhile only if it is truly notable and great, then you basically accept the fact that most of the human population, including yourself, sucks and is worthless. And this mindset can quickly turn dangerous to both yourself and others. The rare people who do become truly exceptional at something do so not because they believe they're exceptional. On the contrary, they become amazing because they're obsessed with improvement. And that obsession with improvement stems from an unerring belief that they are, in fact, not that great at all. It's anti-entitlement. People who become great at something become great because they understand that they're not already great. They are mediocre, they are average, and that they could be so much better. All of this every person can be extraordinary and achieve greatness stuff is basically just jerking off your ego. It's a message that tastes good going down, but in reality is nothing more than empty calories that makes you emotionally fat and bloated. The proverbial Big Mac for your heart and your brain. Ticket to emotional health, like that to physical health, comes from eating your veggies. That is, accepting the bland and mundane truths of life. Truths such as, your actions actually don't matter that much in the grand scheme of things, and vast majority of your life will be boring and not noteworthy, and that's okay. This vegetable course will taste bad at first, very bad. You will avoid accepting it. Once ingested, your body will wake up feeling more potent and more alive. After all, that constant pressure to be something amazing, to be the next big thing, will be lifted off your back. The stress and anxiety of always feeling inadequate and constantly needing to prove yourself will dissipate. And the knowledge and acceptance of your own mundane existence will actually free you to accomplish what you truly wish to accomplish, without judgment or lofty expectations. You will have a growing appreciation for life's basic experiences, the pleasures of simple friendship, creating something, helping a person in need, reading a good book, laughing with someone you care about. Sounds boring, doesn't it? That's because these things are ordinary. But maybe they're ordinary for a reason, because they are what actually matters. Chapter 4.
I want to pause that right there because this is very important. That piece that we just listened to is very important, and that is a piece that a lot of people want to avoid. It's the work piece, okay? It's the piece that a lot of people are idolizing others based on what they present online. People who are in businesses, people who have the perfect body, people who seemingly have the perfect family, that seemingly have the perfect skin with that perfect filter that's moving with their face, you know. Um, we're putting people on a pedestal and then we are looking at ourselves like, you know, I'm not that great. My business isn't going that well. My life isn't that perfect. My skin isn't that flawless. But everything that we're looking at on social media is pretty much a filter. They are only showing, people are showing the best parts of their lives. And then there's the other end of the spectrum. People who are showing the worst, who are, we all know somebody, and maybe we're that person sometimes, where you're looking for the exception. We don't want to be average. We don't want to be in the middle and our problems just be normal. We want to stand out. We want some sort of attention. A lot of us want some sort of attention that we didn't get as children from our parents. So we are seeking the approval of others. We want to make ourselves bigger than life, make ourselves grander than what life really is in comparison to other people. And that is putting too much pressure on you. You need to release that pressure off yourself. If you're someone who's aggrandizing yourself, where you are constantly where you are constantly you know, bigging yourself up, and you're constantly, you know, complimenting yourself before others can compliment you. You are, you know, talking about all of these big things that you got going on and you're about to do and all that kind of stuff. And it's giving insecure. Because it is insecure. It's insecure. We are looking for the approval of others by doing that, and that may be something that you don't realize you are doing, but you are looking for the approval of others when you are aggrandizing yourself. You are trying to be the exception and not be the average. On the other end of the spectrum, you're telling somebody a story, and the person who you're talking to or someone in a group, they got to come and tell a worse story than you. Their story has to be 3 times the pain, 3 times the abuse, 3 times, oh, you got beat up, well, I got pistol whipped. You know, oh, your mom didn't, you know, well, my mom did this. Oh yeah, your problem isn't that bad because I had it this time, this many times worse. We need to check ourselves in that regard too, because we are still looking to be the exception. We don't want to capitalize on our pain. We don't want to do that. We want to be able to move forward. We need to understand our problems are not special, that we are not special. Each of us have something special about us, because no two people are alike. So there will be something different about you. There is something that you can offer and contribute to help other people, but we need to take away that feeling or that thought that for some reason we are special and that we deserve an exception to the rules. We deserve an exception to people's time and people's energy, and they should want to give us their time and energy because we are so grand, or they should want to give us their time and energy because we are so disenfranchised and abused, and we're such a victim that we need special attention because we had it hard. No, we are all on an even playing field. We're all in an even playing field, and we are all average. And once we start to, okay, yes, these people are posting these pictures online, but they're not turning that camera around. You don't see what's in the background behind that camera. Okay, you don't see the couple that's posting these pictures together, and then at the same time, as soon as they finish the pictures, they're having an argument. And at the same time, yes, I did just answer my phone and hang it up. They'll call back and leave a message, maybe. But even then, don't jump into your phone if you don't need to answer your phone. That you don't need to answer your phone all the time. It's okay. But look, we need to think about things in a realistic way because we are on this internet world. We're in this internet world, and there's so much phoniness going on that we are looking up to the phoniness. People, they're renting these homes, they're renting these cars, they're renting their lifestyle to sell to you. It's just like TV. We are experiencing reality TV in a real world arena. Okay. That is what's going on social media, and it's making us feel less than. It's making us feel like, the accomplishments, the things that we are actually accomplishing in life, those steps forward that we are making, it's making us feel like, man, maybe my win wasn't that big. Maybe I shouldn't celebrate this accomplishment, this thing that I was excited about, because it's not as big as their thing that, they're showing. Don't compare. I know too many people online that in the social media space that has mega followers, and let me tell you, some of them are the most broken people. Some of them are literally broke. They have this lifestyle online. They're taking these pictures at these rented out places that is paid for by a photographer or someone, and they ain't got no money, and they don't even have a clue. So let's not compare ourselves to others and then, use that as a basis. Right. We need to celebrate all of our wins. Let's celebrate our wins, celebrate our triumphs. Okay. Because everybody is average. Everybody got to go use the bathroom. Okay. Everybody got to wake up and brush their teeth. Everybody has to do work to earn a living. Everyone does. Nothing is given to anyone for free. What you put into something is what you get out of it. So a lot of times you're not seeing in the background, the back end of things, all of the hard work that goes into creating the productions that you guys see that comes across as just someone's regular life when it's a whole production. It's a production. So let's stop comparing ourselves to these people. Now, let me task y'all with this. It's time to go on to your social media and mute some people. There's some people we got to mute. Okay, there's some people that we look up to and that we may be getting information from that we need, and we have a valuable need for their information. But at the same time, maybe their position in life or where they have gotten to in life, we're not there yet. Maybe they've been on their journey for maybe 10 years and we've been on our journey for maybe only 5 years. So it seems like there's so much further ahead than us. We may need to mute those people and then just go and check on their pages just to get the information that we normally get from them. Okay. Mute ministry, it's time to get that started. Let's go onto our Instagram. Let's go on to, I don't really use Facebook and TikTok and all that stuff. I don't know if you can mute there, but go onto your Instagram and these other social platforms, and let's start muting people who make us feel some type of way. And trust me, it's okay. You don't have to feel like, oh man, it's insecure. If I mute them, that's insecure. No, you need to protect your energy and protect your peace while you build yourself up. Okay? While you build yourself up, let's protect our peace. Okay? So, a few things we need to take away today. We need to take away the sense of entitlement. We are not entitled to anyone or anything. That includes our spouse and our children as well. We are not entitled to them. Even the children, the people we gave birth to, we're not entitled to them. We're not. We gave birth to them and now they're here and their life is their life. Time to let them live. It's time to let them live. Okay? No matter how old or how young they are, we got to let them live because we don't own them. Our spouse, we don't control our spouse. Okay? We may want to at times, ladies in particular, who I'm talking to, especially right now, we don't control our spouse. And even the men, you don't control your spouse either. But if we give each other the common courtesy of listening and hearing each other out, and then trying to see where the other person is coming from, then things will go a whole lot smoother. It's the sense of entitlement, the air of entitlement that can be keeping us from our blessings, that can be literally blocking our blessings because we feel entitled to something, and the person on the other end is like, oh, hell no, you ain't like who you think you are. Whether they say it or not, they maybe feel like, who the hell you think you are? Because, like we said, what in the past couple days, everybody's got problems, and everybody's problems feel like a problem. So no matter, if you want to go and write down those problems and say, okay, well, this problem, because I experienced this level of abuse, my problem is grander and greater than your problem. What do you get from that? What is the takeaway from that? There's no takeaway in that. So yes, you have made yourself an exception to the rules. You have made yourself stand out as an exceptional person because you have this big problem. But what do we do with that? Because what do we want to be? Problem solvers. Because when we become problem solvers, problems in life won't stop. Okay? While you're broke and you're poor, you got the problem that you don't have money. Okay? As you start making money, you have the problem of people, of not knowing if people are really being your friend for real, or if people want to be your friend because of what you might be able to do for them. Okay? And then once you really really got money, then I don't know, I'm not there. There's more problems that comes along with that. They say once you get the money, then you got the problem with keeping the money and where you're supposed to distribute it. So you're always going to have problems, no matter the degree of it. And those problems feel like pain in the same place in your body. Your chest and your stomach is where you're going to feel the pain of those problems, no matter what it is. So understand this: when we go into our day, we are people with problems who are dealing with other people who have problems. So let's lead in grace. Let's go throughout our day leading with grace. Okay? We're going to give grace to ourselves. So that means that we're not going to negative self talk. We're not going to do any negative self talk. We're not going to be around here talking about we're stupid and we're not going to say negative things about ourselves. Okay? So let's cut that out now. Let's start that. That's another thing today. If you catch yourself saying something bad about you, whether it's in your head or out loud, stop it. Stop calling yourself stupid. Stop calling yourself dumb. You are not dumb. You are not stupid. To slip up and make mistakes from time to time, it's average. It's average. That's not dumb or stupid. It's average. Okay. So we are going to work on these things throughout the next month. In Mindset Camp, we're going to work on these things together. And every day, we're going to be conscious about what it is that we talk about in Mindset Camp when we go throughout the day. So when we leave from here and we start dealing with people outside of our home or inside of our home, we're going to think, I'm a person with problems who's dealing with people who have problems. So I'm going to lead with grace. Okay? Lead with grace. That's all it is. That means you hear the person out. Okay? You understand that they may be experiencing something that they are not voicing, so that they have a problem, but they're not telling you their problem, just like you're not telling them their problem. So I want to also leave you with this: if you're someone who needs professional help, if you're going through a problem that is so grand that it is breaking you down and you don't have anyone in your life that you feel you can trust to talk to, one thing that I did in the past, I didn't know how to find a therapist. I could not afford a therapist. I wasn't even raised in a therapy home. I found out some people in my family go to therapy, but in the Black community, we don't share that information with each other. We don't really share self-improvement information in an institutional type of way with each other. Now we'll listen to each other problems and we'll give each other advice, but at the same time we don't really know where to go. So what I was doing, I was calling suicide hotlines. I was not going to commit suicide, but I was calling suicide hotlines so I could have somebody to talk to, so that I can just get out this emotion that I was experiencing with someone who's prepared on the other line to take that. Because sometimes we take our problems to people who are not prepared to help us with our problems. They may not have the scope, they may not even have the stomach for some of our problems. So, how about we go to somebody who's like, look, I'm prepared to take these phone calls, to talk to people who are dealing with extreme issues, who feel stuck, and who might be ready to end it all. So call your suicide hotlines and speak to somebody if you cannot speak to anybody within your local group. Now, another thing that you can do, I found this out from experiencing postpartum. You can go to the local hospitals and you can get information for free therapists. Okay, community therapists. This should be in all major cities. I'm in New Orleans. We do tend to have like programs that aren't offered everywhere. This is a test city. They test out a whole bunch of stuff in this city. But, anyways, go and get you some professional help. Even if you're somebody that's within my mentorship program, if you need the help, go and get the help, because joining my mentorship program for health, for herpes and HPV and diabetes and all of these different things that people come and see me for, fertility and all of that kind of stuff, being within the program is also not a substitute for getting professional help if you need professional help. We are more just of a support system to help you along with your health goals, and we're doing these mindset camps to help us realize areas in our lives where we need to improve so that we can make those adjustments, and recognize the things within ourselves that we need to change, certain behaviors that we need to change, and thought processes that we have inherited from our families and from our situations as young people. We inherit these thought patterns. We need to trash some of that, and we need to replace them with the right ways of thinking about things. There's a toxic way of thinking about things, and then there's another way that you can think about your situations that will help you come out of them quicker and with more ease and less angst. We don't want to be filled with anxiety. We want to encounter our problems with ease. I received an eviction notice from my apartments a week or so ago, a couple weeks maybe, and I was confused. I was like, how is it that I'm getting an eviction notice? This don't even make sense. I'm on auto pay with my rent. It just don't make sense. So I find out the next day that the reason why we got an eviction notice is because my whole floor is being turned into efficiencies. Now, you guys have been following me for a while. You know that I don't live in the best area, and I've been wanting to move for a long time. So sometimes God has to put you in situations to make you do what you know you needed to do in the first place. I should have been moved. I had no business living here for as long as I did. But in my own fear of branching out and spreading my own wings, God had to like kick me out the nest. Like, come on, little birdie, it's time for you to fly. I made a way for you. Everything that you prayed for, I put it in your path. And for some reason, you're not biting. You prayed to me. I put it in your path. You're not doing what I put in your path. So now what? I got to kick you up your butt to make you do it. And here we are, looking for homes, looking for houses to live in with yards and things like that for the children, which is much better. So if you, some of these problems that you're encountering in your life, all of your problems you encounter in your life is only to make you better. It is to make you better. It is to take you out of the situation that you are currently in and then move you to the point that you've been praying for. So some people have been praying for help in the areas that they have contacted me in, but then they got cold feet. Then you got cold feet once the opportunity was presented to you. Don't let fear give you cold feet and miss your opportunity, because opportunities have a timestamp on it. When God gives you the opportunities, you have a gap in time to take on the opportunity. Okay. And then if you miss your opportunity, you're going to have to wait for the bus to roll back around. You're going to have to wait for the cycle. Everything in life is on a cycle. It's revolving situations that occur over and over and over again to try to wake you up. It's like, don't this situation look or feel, sound familiar? It should, because you've been in it before. But you got to exit. You're on a loop. But there's an exit on a loop. You can exit the loop. You can by making the choice to look. I'm not gonna let fear stand in my way. I'm actually gonna be that little birdie that flies. I'm gonna fly into what it is that I've been praying for. So don't let your opportunities pass you by. I'm someone who has repeatedly let fear, let fear get in the way of some big opportunities that I've had. And then I allowed myself to make excuses for not taking on the opportunity. And then I said, well, you know what? If it's for me, it's for me. And it must not be for me if I miss the opportunity. That's actually not true. You missed your opportunity, but that is for you. It is for you. And it's gonna come back around. And next time it comes back around, it might take 5 years for it to come back around. It might take 7 years to come back around. It might take 10 years for it to come back around. But when it does, it's up to you to recognize it and for you to take advantage of the opportunities that you have been praying for. So I got some links down in the description of this video. If you're not following me already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you go and turn your bell on and your notifications. If you are a part of my text club, the text club phone number is 404 737 1371. And that's how you tap in with me. And I'll send you messages whenever I'm live on any of my platforms, whenever I have classes, whenever I have deals. So I'm out of here, you guys. Please remember the affirmations that I said earlier. We need to be cognizant of these things. We need to be aware. That's what that means. We need to be aware of these things. We are people. We are people with problems who are dealing with people with problems. And we choose to lead with grace. So y'all have a great day, and I'll see y'all later. Bye, y'all.